I want to talk about Metta Meditation, Metta Loving Kindness Meditation, or Metta Bhvana, Loving Kindness Meditation, and how much it's changed my life, and how now I can see its potential to help a friend of mine who has a swollen thymus gland, which relates to his heart chakra. In regards to the endocrine system, the thymus gland, because of the nature of its position beneath the breastbone and with the lungs and the heart, it relates to grief. It relates to also, which is the lungs in the Chinese medicine, and it relates to the heart because it lies over the heart, and therefore the heart chakra relates to, in Indian Vedic science, relates to the thymus. So years ago, when I first, back in the early 90s, 1990 through to 1993, I was drinking heavily. I was drinking alcohol like my father before me, to excess, because of my frustrations around my life experience, the trauma of my childhood, my inability to be able to process those wounds and heal them, and I didn't have the tools to be able to express myself, be vulnerable, or have the emotionality to understand how to begin the process of doing my shadow work. I had no idea. And so therefore, for me, the easiest way to cope with my trauma and the pain that I was experiencing in my life, the sandflies all over this place, all over the show right now. I'm swatting them away because they're coming in to feast on me. The easiest way for me to process, or to cope with, not process, but for me to cope with my pain and my conflict within myself and my self-hatred, most importantly, because of the life that I'd lived, and of course because of the conditionings and the patterns that I was living out in my life, the easiest way for me to cope was for me to drink to excess, to numb my pain and to distort my reality through escapism. So I drank to excess. I drank to the point where I was drinking so heavily that often I would get up in the morning and have a beer first thing in the morning when I was flatting in Dunedin at Otago University, and after university I was still drinking very heavily. Most days drinking to excess. I had an incident with a girlfriend, my first real girlfriend, Helen. I was managing a backpackers in Metta Place in South Dunedin. These sandflies are absolutely insistent on a meal. And when I was in Metta Place, I had an incident one night when Helen was leaving. I knew that she was leaving to go travelling, and she's a traveller. She was 27, I was 21, 22. And she's off to go travelling again, and I had no money to go travelling, even though I really wanted to go travelling, because all my money had been spent on booze and university education, and I wasn't working to make any money at the time, apart from managing the backpackers, which paid next to nothing, really. So it's basically a free accommodation for me. And what happened one night was I got absolutely hammered pissed before she left, and we had a fight, and she pushed me and I pushed her back and she fell over. And then I saw myself as my father. In that moment, I knew that I had to stop drinking and my life had to change in many, many ways, drastically. I chose two options. One, to go to Queen Margaret Hospital, where I could go to rehab for my alcoholism. They are getting crazier here now. They're coming in swarms. And the other option for me was one that I had a very deep desire to learn how to meditate. And I really feel as though this came from my last lifetime as a Buddhist monk. Coming through into this lifetime, it was a very strong message: learn how to meditate. So I contacted my mother and told her I had an issue with alcohol, and I was basically an alcoholic and I needed help. And she said, "What do you need?" I said, "I need to learn how to meditate." And she was shocked, I think, initially, because she thought that, how's that going to help? But she found a Tibetan monk in Dunedin who taught me how to meditate with a group of people. It was about 10 of us, I think, in total. And it changed my life forever. It gave me the first of my tools to be able to have contemplation, introspection, and do my shadow work. It was fantastic. 8 weeks into my meditation practice, I began to learn with my Tibetan Buddhist monk teacher, Metta Bhvana, or Metta Meditation, and Tonglen Meditation, Compassion Meditation. And when I learnt Metta Bhvana, it changed my life forever. I remember learning Metta for the first time, practicing it with a group, and how much it elevated my ability to feel love and to feel euphoria and joy. Back in the day, I used to have long hair, and I used to go to heavy metal gigs and rock gigs at a place called the Crown Hotel. I'd never stage dived before. And that night after Metta Meditation, I went down to the Crown to see some bands, and I remember climbing on the speaker, which is it's a really low roof of the Crown Hotel, super low. I climbed on top of a speaker and dove off into the crowd and crowd surfed. My first stage dive. After Metta Meditation, I was so euphoric and so buzzed out by the actual experience. It was, I've had lots of MDMA in my life, lots of it, but Metta Meditation in a group for me was taking me higher than any MDMA ever has, or any other drug ever has. I remember how much it changed my life. I began to practice Metta Meditation, how it opened up my heart in the way that it allowed me to be able to feel into my pain. It allowed me to feel into my suffering. It allowed me to feel connected to all that is, to the consciousness of source energy, first cause. It gave me that glimpse, and I remembered who I was at my essence, what I was, and that was love. This deep feeling of love. So the Metta Meditation that I learned was 4 phrases. May I be happy, may I be well, may I be free from suffering, may I be at peace. And even though I practiced at the time when I first learned how to meditate, I practiced breath counting or breath awareness in the morning and Metta Meditation at night. I haven't practiced a lot of Metta in the last few years, but I've been going back into it and tapping back into it because I practice other meditations as well. But Metta, again, has become a big part of my life as I realize that as these frequencies, these activations, these codes come in this ascending Dvapara cycle, Dvapara cycle, if you look at the real Sanskrit word, how it's said, not Dvapara, but Dvapara cycle. But Dvapara cycle, Dvapara cycle. I think I got that right. The ascending Dvapara cycle. We have this energy coming in, bombarding our planetary consciousness and taking our form into a less dense form. We're heading back into a less dense form. Eventually, over epochs, we will become even more less dense to the point where our form will go to a place where it becomes more spiritual, more etheric, less dense to the point where it becomes even gaseous, jelly-like then gaseous. I'm talking like epochs, if you follow the mystery school work. We're talking epochs, millions of years, as we go through the Yuga cycle towards the Golden Age. And in this moment, I can see the benefit of Metta Meditation, and practicing Metta Meditation every day can benefit those of us who choose to adhere to those cycles, activations, by moving into our heart space, and how moving into our heart space can also, and practicing this meditation, when you practice it for yourself first and foremost, may I be happy, may I be well, may I be free from suffering, may I be at peace. When you practice that and you focus on your heart, you're basically, in my perception, I'm not telling anyone how to live their lives, I'm talking about my experience. When you practice this, your heart begins to open, and the flow through of the divine energy of source, first cause, begins to flow through you. And if you get out of the way of yourself, and this was my intention, to get out of the way of myself, I allow also that energy to permeate through my immune system, because your thymus gland is a large part of your immune system, releasing T cells. So that happens to also letting your heart open and expand with this Metta Meditation, and feeling the energy in your heart chakra, in your thymus, allows your body to will strengthen your immune system. In my perception, I'm not saying this is truth, I'm just saying in my perception, will strengthen your immune system, but also bring you into alignment with the activations that are happening in this moment. I have a dear friend of mine who's discovered that his thymus is increased in size to the size of a fist, and it's getting bigger and it's causing him extreme pain. I said to my dear friend a while ago, this is emotional. This is a block. There are blocks in your emotional field. There are patterns, beliefs in your mind, in your being, that are stopping you from allowing you to love yourself, that are stopping you from allowing source energy to flow through you, because you're stuck on things in these lack of manifestations of these things that you want, rather than feeling like you already have them. You are looking at the scarcity because you don't have them, and it builds frustration in your being. It builds self-loathing. It builds hatred. It closes down your heart chakra. What's happening there, in my perception, is the energies are coming through him and doing their best to activate him. But seeing his thymus and his heart chakra under stress and are blocked by these belief systems, by this self-loathing, by this self-hatred, and there's a lack of self-love. What's happening is his thymus is beginning to swell up, and it not only due to the nature of the energetic confluence of movement of this energy coming in, trying to do its best to activate him and his heart chakra, but the belief patterns are like a block around that. And it's, as I know with my own personal experience, that dis-ease starts in the etheric and the less dense field, and it moves into the more dense field, the oscillating fields, and therefore it becomes manifest in the body, because unless it's addressed in the etheric, unless it's addressed in the emotional state, it will go further into the body, and will harden, and will find the most densest part of the body, where the emotional aspect and the blockage and the belief, the limiting belief experience and thought process will manifest in a particular part of the body that relates to the experience. In my perception, I'm not telling anyone how to live their life, or any information that I'm saying holds any water. This is just my experience, right? And my perception. And I see that, and I said to him, this is your sadhana, this is your work. This is your work, your opportunity to open up your heart through meditation, through visualization, through a process of understanding that you have an opportunity here. This opportunity presents itself to work, to open up your heart in a way that allows the love of God to flow through you, to get out of the way of yourself, to let go of everything that holds you in a place of self-loathing. I know this because I've been there before. I lived my life that way for many years. I began my shadow work to begin to a point where I began to love myself. I'm still working through this. Self-worth is a big thing for me, but I'm doing my best every day to feel that self-worth and taking actions in my life that show me that I'm worthy of that love, and feeling it through connection to nature. Most importantly, nature loves you unconditionally. I feel it. Whenever I'm in nature, I feel like I'm held in this container, and it allows my heart to open in that way. That I can feel immense, deep love for everything that I see and feel around me in nature. And I find it fascinating that and only because my dear friend I know will get through this. My dear friend will heal from this. My dear friend will shrink his thymus gland, because the love that when he removes his blocks, when he lets go of all that's holding him and limiting him from feeling, from allowing his heart to open in his own processes, however that looks like for him. But for me, Metta Meditation, may I be happy, may I be well, may I be free from suffering, may I be at peace. That meditation, practicing that meditation daily, and visualizing the heart chakra, the thymus, being filled with light, visualizing the spark of your divinity, emanating from your heart chakra and through your body and out into the multiverse, and feeling the love of God move through you in that way, and healing and spreading out, touching all of multiverse of creation, being a channel for that energy, getting out of the way of yourself, calling it in. May I be a service to source, to prime energy, to prime creator, to source power, to God. Please move through me however you choose to. I get out of the way of myself, and I allow love and light to move through my heart chakra, and I allow God to guide me, to bring me into a place of service to you, for all of creation. No matter how that looks like, protect and guide me. Take me to where I need to be. Allow me to have the processes, enlighten me, to show me how to do this. And this coupled with this affirmation and this strong belief, perception, action, and Metta Meditation together for me have changed my life. I wonder if it will change my friend's life if he chooses to do it as well. Time will tell. Thanks for watching. I truly appreciate it. Metta Bhvana. I'll see you again soon.